Welcome, mortals of the Weirding Hour. It is I, Count Orlok. No, Orlok. No, just kidding. I'm not actually the ancient vampire, Count Orlok. And that voice is really hard to keep up.
Could never tell.
But anyway, welcome to the Weirding Hour, the show where we chat shit about weird, usually morbid topics and make fun of each other, saying a word a bit wrong or doing a stupid voice. We are back from a 2.5 year hiatus.
We've been busy.
We've been busy and we really thought that this would kick off and we'd be able to quit our jobs and live off all the money. And that hasn't happened. So here we are for round two. We are your hosts. I'm Mimi.
I'm Bothwell. I'm Nina.
And for long-term listeners, we have ditched the craft aspect. And it only took us a few episodes to realize that listening to us doing craft is probably not the best gimmick for an audio-based podcast. But nonetheless, we're back with creepy stories.
My art sounds better than it looks, though. So it worked for me as a medium.
What, to never see your craft because it was so awful?
Yeah, until Nina Shane posted it on Instagram.
Yes.
But no one
Quite.
bullied us for any of them, so,
That's true.
Please bully us. Engage with our social media and bully us.
We want to be harassed.
Yes, we've all got some sort of strange kink. Anyway, our topic today is forests. Forests.
I was going to say, should we talk about your accent first?
no.
No.
I'm loving Count Orlok.
If you haven't seen Nosferatu, 10 out of 10.
If you hadn't seen Nosferatu, you shouldn't be listening to this.
100%.
Don't talk to me or my son ever again.
It is creepy, weird, vampire,
Beautiful.
just so unrelentingly horny.
It's so good.
So go see Nosferatu. This is not an ad placement, but if they want to give us that sweet vampire money, then
That
I'd be
sweet
very happy
little
with that.
sack of gold.
Yes, straight out of Orlok's pocket. That sounds like a
Orlok's
euphemism.
box.
Orlok's box. Bill Skarsgård will be listening.
I wish he would.
Bill, if you're listening, marry me.
Yeah. Put on the costumes, Bill. Have a YouTube channel. Do the voice, wear the costumes. It's what the world wants. Anyway.
Orlok, if you're listening, marry me.
Don't know who comes off worse.
So now the marriage proposal section of the podcast is out of the way. Our topic today, as we said, is forests. And this is going to be a very, very different episode to episode 44, Creepy Trees, and indeed episode 25, Bodies Found in Trees. So there's new content coming, don't you worry.
What's ridiculous, the most ridiculous thing about that is we actually have so many topic ideas. But for some reason, Bothwell was like, I really want to do forest. Let's do forest again.
Can't get enough.
So, Bothwell, you can't get enough. What have you got for us today?
I get to go first. Okay,
Yeah.
So today, instead of talking about a specific tree that might have like a specific body in it, I'm going to talk about a forest in general. So many
Good,
trees.
that's usually what a forest is.
I'm going to give you.
It's not one tree.
Definition of forest. This is an educational podcast.
Well, hey, woods versus forest. I don't know. What's the difference?
One's whimsical.
Fair. I'm going to give a TW. There is discussion of suicide, genocide. I put and murder. There's no murder.
What's genocide?
Yeah, what?
You're going to find out. Stay tuned.
Okay.
Ooh.
So today I'm going to talk about Aokigahara, the forest based in Japan at the base of Mount Fuji, which has also come to be known as the suicide forest.
Brilliant.
Is that the correct pronunciation of that word?
Aokigahara, according to other people I listen to on YouTube,
According
saying
to
it.
other white people describing the forest.
Look, my accent's going to butcher it either way. So, but I'm just going to lean straight into it. Okay, y'all ready? I'm going to go.
Love that
Okay. Okay.
Straight in, 2-year hiatus, boom, the most depressing topic you can think of. But also,
Thank
trees.
you. Also, Pammy's voice is back. Pammy's voice is back.
Oh, your Southern
Weird
American
American.
voice? Oh no.
She's here. Okay, so Aokigahara, from above, the trees swaying in the wind are apparently very reminiscent of the sea, which gives the forest its second name, Jukai, or Sea of Trees. The name Sea of Trees is basically because the foliage is so sort of heavy and has such a thick coverage, which is due to the kind of trees that grow in there. It can actually block out a lot of the sunlight, and if it's raining, hikers can walk through and not actually feel like a drop of rain on
Oh
them.
my God,
Wow.
spooky.
Many trees.
It must be amazing
That's
to be in
like
there.
a Lord of the Rings forest.
Yeah, and people think that this is kind of a big part that's added to the mystique of it, and that makes it a little bit creepy. It's also reported to be very eerily quiet. The ground below is quite uneven. Lots of kind of like little caves, moss-covered roots growing kind of everywhere, and also dried lava. So that's kind of because it's at the
That sounds
That's sick.
incredible.
Should we go?
yeah. It looks this place looks amazing. Apparently, the soil has a very high iron content, which also interferes with GPS compasses and cell phone
What?
signals.
Surely not.
But I feel like that must be if you're walking
Yeah.
along like
With your phone on the
on the
ground.
floor. Your compass on the. Do people use compasses? I don't. It's basically a very easy place to get lost, and visitors are very strongly encouraged to stay on the set trails that are out there.
Unsurprising.
Signs at the forest entrances remind visitors that their lives are precious and to think of their families. And at the bottom of the sign is the number for a suicide hotline.
Why is that, Bothwell?
Because this forest has gained notoriety as a very popular suicide spot. And I'm going to tell you why, and a little bit more about that in terms of Japan's history.
It's going to be really hard to riff on this.
It's
quite
It's not so
depressing.
funny. Yeah, it's not.
But we'll do it anyway.
Hey, come on. we're not here to be fun. We're here to be sad. Right?
I
Nina?
don't think that's what I signed up for when we agreed to
No.
do this. I thought the vibe was weird, funny, take the piss out of things.
Take the piss out of me, maybe.
I got
Go for me.
I got
Don't
enough
attack
sad.
the content. Yeah. It's coming out your ears. Okay, let me tell you about when this recently came back up into kind of popular culture. So in 2017, you guys might remember this, but the American YouTube star Logan Paul posted a video where he was inside the Aokigahara forest, which they'd been visiting because it's got a reputation for being haunted, alongside a lot of kind of people going there and taking their own lives. But in this video, they come across the body of an apparent suicide victim, and sort of go on to make some jokes. They're sort of dealing with it in a way where they're clearly shocked, but also making some comments that people found.
Like a fresh, previously unfound new addition to the forest.
Yes.
Ooh.
Now, we know that shock can have quite a profound effect on people, and dark humor is a way that people process and manage difficult situations, but they absolutely did not need to release the video.
Where can I find the video?
I think it's been, you probably can, but I think a lot of them have attempted to take it down.
Oh, Dave.
I think he got kicked off of YouTube.
Yeah.
It's out there
yeah.
somewhere.
Don't worry. Oh, he's back in full force being a bellend.
Oh, hooray. The actual suicide rate for Aokigahara is not known. And this is because in 2010, the Japanese government stopped sharing the number of deaths that occur to kind of stave off the sort of morbid stories that feed into the forest's dark history, and looking to prevent suicide contagion and kind of inspiration to those who are struggling with suicidality. Inside the forest as well, there are regular patrols of the area, designed to kind of discourage people who might have gone there who are considering suicide. But also, obviously, the downside is that they also are generally finding people as well.
Are those people trained?
It does. I would hope so. I would really hope so.
Not like a security guard that's like,
no,
don't do
not like
it.
just one little guy going around a
Yeah.
museum being like, "Is anyone there?" No, I think it's I think unfortunately, due to the nature of this, it is, you know, kind of set up as part of the general routine. The forest also has as I mentioned before, like established trails, and now they've created kind of forbidden zones, and this is to guide tourists to kind of follow the way that they should go and
That
stop
sounds
them going
more-
to look for people.
100%
Oh.
Mimi.
That's if you put forbidden.
Yeah. So
on a
many more
zone of a-
people.
of a
Now it's
suicide forest.
the only place you want to go, right? Just that bit.
Hell
So
yeah.
many people are that. Surely that's going to make it worse.
Mm.
Yeah.
But Japanese people are very like respectful of rules and boundaries, right? It would just be tourists that'd be going off piste.
But this is now again in 2017, I think. Is it Paul Logan? Logan Paul. Don't have two first names. It's just confusing. Do you know what I mean? Like Michael Mark. No. Well, let's call him Paul Smith. Logan Paul.
Wasn't he in the Bible?
I think kind of.
Paul
Was
Smith,
he in?
the fashion designer, was in
Michael
the Bible.
Mark by Computer
Oh.
Force.
So Logan Paul, YouTube star, biblical character, I think kind of pushed this back into that kind of realm of popularity. And again, people were visiting the forest looking to see what they could find, which obviously
Do you
is
know?
probably not very light on research.
Yeah, I shouldn't ask. Do you know if in the video where he finds someone, they're like, I assume they're being all like macho and like, haha, this is funny, haha, which, you know, could be a shock reaction, but are do they get help? Are they reporting that to some authorities?
I think it is dealt with. I haven't seen the video, but because I don't particularly want to watch it. I think that the joke is actually more they sort of say, "Oh, have you never been around a dead body?" to somebody else who is quite clearly
That's a
distressed.
funny joke.
Jesus.
Funny.
As it would be. I think one of the big things that people, both kind of Japanese natives, but also people kind of outside of it, want to sort of the point they want to impress is that these are real people. Their families are still out
Yeah.
there. Their lives are kind of ongoing. So this is quite dehumanizing to kind of be like, oh, I'm going to go and try and find somebody. So where I'm going to ramble on to now is kind of how the forest gained the reputation for being haunted and also came to be a spot where people kind of went to take their lives. So local legend, and I am going to say legend because we don't specifically know that this is the case, it's more kind of an assumption and built out of folklore, but was that the forest was once a place where people practiced ubasute. I'm definitely saying that wrong, which is a form of senocide, which is the killing of the elderly, and involved leaving the elderly person on a mountain or someplace desolate to die.
I see.
Genocide.
The literal translation, to be very clear, is abandoning an old woman. So although it's going
Specifically
for
a
a
woman.
general, yeah, very much abandoning the old ladies.
Oh, poor granny.
This practice, like I say, is kind of largely confined to folklore, and we don't have the specific evidence. However, A, it is usually elderly women, but B, there is a recent account of this happening in 2018, not in the forest, but I went down a little bit of a Reddit rabbit hole. And in 2018, police arrested a woman suspected of dumping her 79-year-old father at a motorway service station. So this lady was unemployed from the city of Otsu in Shiga Prefecture. All wrong.
Good job. Yeah.
And she was basically arrested for neglecting her responsibility as a carer to her father, who suffered from Alzheimer's. She abandoned him on the Chugoku Expressway on the outskirts of Kobe, which was around 70 kilometers away from her home. So police were called, when they found a man kind of wandering around looking confused, distressed, unable to recall his name or address, etc.
Oh my God.
He was taken into
You
custody.
pointed out that he had Alzheimer's. I was like, service stations are bad, but they're not like, I'm going to die if I stay here bad.
Yeah, that's not like driving you into the forest and there's no way back. You might be able to get home from, like, if we tried to dump you like in Lee Delamere, you'll probably come home. Annoyingly. But yes, he was very confused. So obviously this worked. Yeah, no, it's very sad. But the fact that you have this kind of practice of, we're not going to cause them any harm, but we're just going to leave them there. Let's move on from this because it's sad and picking on
We're
the old
not going to
people.
leave them any harm. I'm just gonna do.
Yeah. Bye.
Also, I love that you're saying, let's get away from the sad topic and back to the suicide forest.
Yes. Now I'm going to talk about the haunted parts because this is
Okay,
linked.
this is fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Let's get silly.
There are rumors of Yuri in the forest. I'm pretty sure we've covered Yuri in a previous episode. The Japanese
Yellow.
ghosts with the long hair. Your Sadakos or your Samaras, and the one from The Grudge. What's she called? Yeah, her
That one.
Rebecca. I don't know.
She's walking around
yeah,
saying her
Becky.
name the whole time.
Becky.
So it's like a Pokemon.
Yes. They're predominantly believed to be women, because the Japanese believe that women experience deeper, stronger emotions than men. Yes. And thus are more likely to become Yuri. And it's possible that they were presumed to be in this forest because of the fact that they were eating us there to die when we were old. I also don't know what that age would be back then. Obviously, probably slightly younger.
43?
Probably about my age. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not 43. How dare you?
Don't
But
reveal
yes,
it.
when I get to there. So traditional kind of Japanese beliefs about the afterlife report that when someone dies, their soul leaves their body and enters a sort of purgatory. When proper funeral rites are performed, the soul can go to the ancestors and have a great time, bit of a party, or maybe become like a protective spirit. If the rites aren't performed, or if the person dies by suicide or murder, their soul may become a Yuri.
Murder.
I know that seems
doesn't seem
unfair,
very
right?
fair.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not all Yuri are considered to be kind of bad, if that makes sense. So some of the Yuri might be there to, like a mother might become a Yuri and stay to look after her children. However, there are some who are particularly scary, and these are kind of like where the Yuri become a curse. And this is that their desire for vengeance is so strong that even destroying the original object of their fury won't chill them out. So they are associated with an area, and therefore would attack kind of anyone who came into it, because they're not be caring anymore. They're like, not just one man, all the men, which I get. I'm not mad at
But
it.
doesn't that make sense for if they died of murder? Why was that surprising?
Sorry, say what?
Didn't you say that you come back as a Yuri if they were died?
They were died.
If they were
diagnosed of murder.
if they were died of murder, and then I changed it to say if they were killed of murder. If they were
we were
murdered,
just saying it seems unfair. It seems sad. Like you don't get to see your ancestors and go and become a happy person. Like,
right, okay.
It seems sad.
I thought you were like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would they come
It's
back
weird
for
that they're
revenge
pissed.
when they were murdered?
Yeah, they should be happy, right?
Okay.
You have, to be fair, often said, Nina, that if we kill you, you don't mind.
She did say that.
No.
So maybe.
I'm going to the ancestors, baby.
So yeah, the rumors of the Yuri were initially thought to be linked with the practice of ubisute, so being ditched there and getting pissed about it, which is fair. But later on, it became this idea that it could be people who'd gone and taken their own lives, because they too are not allowed to hang with the ancestors.
That fucking sucks.
Does fucking suck.
Right. So let's talk a little bit now about the forest's reputation kind of for death, and also then how that sort of turned into, it's become a place where people go to end their lives. So, oh God, Seiko Matsumoto, maybe? I hope so. Apologies if it's incorrect. Where in the book, two young lovers end up taking their lives whilst in the forest. And then an incredibly controversial book that was published in 1993 titled The Complete Suicide Manual, which is literally a step-by-step guide on how to kill yourself, essentially.
Hello.
And it also referred to the Aokigahara forest as the perfect place to die.
Wow. I wonder where it got that reputation from.
Also, not Nina looking excited at the title of that book.
No. Really quite a dangerous book. And it's weird because actually the book wasn't censored or the manual wasn't censored in any way when it was released, because the Japanese criminal code only censors graphical depictions of the sex organs. Now, I personally think that a picture of like a vag or a peen is far, far less concerning than a book that specifically details how to take your own life.
What if it's how to take your own life with a vag or a peen?
Attending.
Yeah, I want to. That's how Mimi's going, 100%.
She died doing what she loved.
How. Dick, everybody.
Shout out bisexual.
But yeah, basically not sure, not sure about those priorities. Let me tell you a little bit about this book. So it was first published on 4th of July 1993 and sold more than 1 million copies. It is, to be clear, in Japanese.
Oh.
And in the postscript, the author says, to think that at the worst crucial moment, one can escape from the pain by committing suicide, one can live for the moment easier. So by distributing this book, I want to make this stifling society an easier place to live. That is the goal of this book. And I never intend to encourage readers to commit suicide.
Cool.
What? So they're just
I think
saying
that's a
like,
mixed message.
I'm letting you live your life happier because you know you could, there's an exit door.
Basically,
It's like
yeah.
Saw.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
giving,
putting
it's
everything
giving
into
Saw.
perspective.
Like,
Mm.
really, I'm doing this for your betterment or complete demise.
Oh, what a
One or the other.
nice guy.
hmm Japan itself has quite a sad history in terms of suicide and has had previously a very high an ongoing, but a very high suicide rate, which has been linked with kind of economic and financial difficulties as well as cultural considerations. So being very reserved, not necessarily sharing emotions, fears, etc. Which I suppose when we think about it, like talking therapies are all based on the idea of, hey, let it out. Let's share. A problem shared is a problem given to somebody else. But it's not.
That's not the saying.
Yeah, that's right.
You're a therapist.
I know, right? Come and see me.
Feeling the burden at the moment, boss.
No, the emotional burnout is real. Fix yourself. No, I don't mean that at all. But yeah, it's this idea, isn't it, that we can kind of talk and work through with somebody else. Whereas if there is maybe a cultural idea, and we have it, here in terms of when we think about men's mental health, there is a real push now to say, let's talk about it more. There is also kind of historically cultural attitudes held in Japan that have been described as tolerant where suicide is concerned. So there's kind of honorable ways to do things. And like in military service, so you have seppuku, which is the kind of self-disembowelment that was practiced by samurais to avoid dishonor, which would be things like defeat in battle or kind of bringing shame upon yourself. I don't know if that's like being frightened because you are having a really big sword fight with somebody. And then during World War II, you also had cases of, kind of kamikaze units being used. And this idea that suicide would be preferable to being captured.
The last seppuku was in 1970. I was reading about this the other day.
That's upsetting.
Interesting.
What was going on? Was it?
It's a great question. I'd love to tell you, but that's for another episode when we do
seppuku,
that topic.
In recent times, yeah.
In recent time, yeah.
So then there is also this idea of the kind of the pressure. So obviously Japan was greatly affected by the 2008 recession and kind of financial crises. And this had a very big impact on people, both kind of losing and maintaining jobs, but also this idea of like overworking to really ensure that your kind of safety and progression within the companies. So people were A, absolutely exhausted, B, not necessarily taking home the amount that was going to be helpful, and incredibly worried about what that would look like in their future and the impact on their families. There was also previously, when you were taking out loans, etc., you had to have a family friend or a family member co-sign, kind of take liability for you. If you can't pay this back, they will. So there was a great sense of shame if you thought, I'm not going to be able to do this, and would therefore be passing that burden on to somebody else. Okay. This is a huge topic, one which, I've definitely not done the research for and could not go on about in the time we have anyway. But this is kind of part of the reason that people think that there has been potentially a bit more of a tolerant view. Places like the forest, so Aokigahara, come into this as well, because it's this idea that in taking your life there, it is not burdensome to others. You're taking yourself away, you're not going to be found by family members, etc. But obviously this has been sort of argued and disputed, because we do now have these people who have to patrol the forest and have been doing so for many years to find people who have gone there with this sole purpose. So actually it does have an impact on others.
Pick a different forest.
Or get yourself some help. go and speak to somebody,
Yes.
please.
The two approaches to mental health.
And that is my bit on our Kikihara.
Very nice. Really depressing.
Yep, cheerful as ever, Bothwell.
Thank you. Any questions, thoughts, comments?
Sad.
Really sad.
Comment sad.
And the forest
You only
itself,
say only what you feel.
the forest itself is beautiful. Like it
I'm gonna have a
looks
look.
absolutely stunning. Terrifying as well, though, because it's enormous. It's absolutely huge. I think it's 34 kilometers
What's it called?
squared. Aokigahara. So Aokigahara.
Oh my God, it is really beautiful.
Mhm.
It's very mossy.
Yes.
I love a mossy forest.
Very D&D for those who play. I was like, yes, this is a beautiful place.
Where the fairies.
But obviously it has such a kind of reputation for mystique, but often quite dark kind of stories and associations with it.
I want to go because it's haunted, not because
Mhm.
people end their lives there. But I would like to see a ghost. That'd be cool.
Yeah, not for the voyeurism of seeing other people who
No.
who have come to a very sad decision. But yeah, the forest itself is absolutely stunning. Would love to go. Would go. Would love to go. Would go.
Shall we go?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Would go? Would not. I don't think I'd go.
No?
I'd go. Stay on the paths. Follow the trails.
Will there be ghosts on the paths?
I don't. Oh.
No.
Well, what if we went at night?
Would not go. You ever been in the forest at night? Scary as shit.
Yeah. Yeah, spooky. I mean, that's why we go. You can't complain that you're not going to see a ghost and then be like, well, I'm not going then because it's really scary. Probably definitely see a ghost. What do you want?
I don't honestly couldn't answer that question.
Anyway, that's my story. Someone else tell a story.
Nice. So thanks, Bothwell, for the bleakest topics to date. That's fantastic. Nina,
Welcome back.
do you have something less
Surpassing yourself.
depressing for us? No?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay, great.
It's pretty easy to be less depressing than whatever Bothwell picks out.
What? We'll
True story.
we'll see. I'm
Um,
gonna be the judge of that.
So I'm gonna do a story which you probably already know, but you have to shut the fuck up and listen anyway.
Oh, what? I'm really bad at that.
Well, maybe you'll learn something, maybe you won't. So I'm doing Julian Koepke. That is a German name, so I'm probably pronouncing it wrong.
Don't you guys look out the pronunciations of your words before you research your stories?
I did.
Oh, sorry.
That was my best attempt.
Sorry.
I'm just dreadful at it.
And I have previously, but I feel like it's funnier if people listen to me getting things wrong and then they can laugh at me.
Yeah, I do love it when you get things wrong.
It,
Staple of our friendship group.
It's your
it
vibe.
feels more authentic.
Well, what did Julianne get up to?
Wait, is that the name of the forest?
No. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing.
Oh, okay.
This is minimal forest.
Oh my
and
God.
It takes place in a forest.
I mean, that's forest
Sure.
enough.
Hmm.
Whatever it is, it's more cheerful than yours. So
Yeah, we'll take it.
let's go. So, Julianne
Sorry.
Koepka. If it's wrong, it's wrong. I'm sorry.
No, it was you reminded me of the okay, let's go. Me.
I don't know that one.
Okay.
I'm probably right now Adele Dazeem.
Wickedly talented Adele Dazeem.
Okay. Julianne was born in Lima in Peru on the 10th of October 1954 to two German zoologists, Maria and Hans Wilhelm Koepke.
Please,
They were
can I interrupt you one more time to
Yes.
talk about the news that we heard about Peru today?
yes.
We saw on the news today that in Peru, a local drug house had been raided by the police, but the head policeman in charge of the battering ram was fully dressed as the Grinch and went in unarmed, doing the high knees and everything in character to arrest these drug dealers. And now every time someone says Peru, that is a fact that I think needs to come to the forefront of the story. So apologies for interrupting.
I don't think you
He-
need to
he
be
was
armed.
armed.
I don't think you need to
He
be.
had a battering ram. Two very different responses.
I don't think you need to be armed dressed as the Grinch if you're part of some cartel in a house and suddenly the Grinch fully comes in. You're like, what is happening? I don't think you're shooting straight away. I think you're questioning.
Would the cartel shoot
I
the
think the
Grinch?
cartel would shoot the Grinch.
Same.
A
Watch
cartel.
that movie.
How the cartel stole the Grinch's
A
life.
cartel shoots the Grinch. It's very short. In Peru,
Mm.
interestingly, Julianne Koepka was born in Peru
Really? Oh, God, please tell us more about Julian Kipke.
because her parents, who were German, were zoologists, and they were working at Lima's Natural History Museum at the time. So this was 1954. When she was 14 years old, she moved with them to a biological research station called Panguana, which was in the Amazon rainforest, which sounds fucking dope and is also very Mean Girls.
Oh, yeah. Like
It's
Caddy.
giving Mean Girls.
Ah, yes.
Yes. Unfortunately for her, the educational authorities disapproved, and she had to go back to Lima to her school so that she could sit her exams,
Ugh.
which she did, and she graduated from on the 23rd of December 1971. So her mother, Maria, had wanted her to return with her to the research station, Panguana. She wanted to go on like the 19th or 20th of December, but Julianne wanted to attend her graduation ceremony, which wasn't until the 23rd of December.
Too late.
which-
Too late in the year. Too close to Christmas. What are
Yeah.
you doing? People have plans.
I mean, German people celebrate Christmas on
Christmas.
24th.
Famously,
Famously celebrate Christmas. They have all the markets and
Wait,
stuff.
was the Grinch
But
there?
I'm not sure about Peruvian people.
It's where Glühwein comes from, right?
Is is it a Christian vibe over there? Surely like the Spanish colonialism
weirdly
brought Christianity.
didn't look that up. Strangely
Okay.
wasn't relevant to my story.
Well, is this the whole segment going to be about scheduling conflicts between Julianne and her mother?
This is just one of those things where you're like, I wish I took the earlier flight.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
right, go.
She getting
Okay.
She getting on a flight.
Okay.
So,
Oh, I've just remembered
Yeah.
what this is. Yeah.
Yeah, she getting on a flight. So,
Mm.
kind of unfortunately, her mum agreed that they would stay for the graduation ceremony, and they instead scheduled a flight for Christmas Eve to us people in the UK, which is actually the 24th. All the flights, because it was Christmas time, were fully booked, except for one that was with a company called Lanza. And her father, Hans Wilhelm, urged them not to avoid flying with this airline because it has a poor reputation.
Did you say he urged them not to avoid? Don't miss it.
Nope. He hated it. No, he didn't. He urged them to avoid flying with the airline.
And they're called Lanza.
Lanza.
Like as in, I hope we do.
I hope we Lanza.
Oh God. So Lanza stands for Líneas Aéreas Nacionales, SA. Don't know what the SA stands for, because even in the like expansion of the abbreviation, it's just like SA.
Okay.
What?
Can't help him.
Okay.
So it was a Peruvian commercial airline that was founded in 1963. So they are flying in 1971. So it's not that old.
Mm.
And in this time, there had already been 2 fatal flights. In April 1966, Flight 501 crashed into a mountainside, and there wasn't as much information about this one because it was older, but the probable cause of it was pilot error. So, like, the pilot chose
That
the
is a
wrong
big
route.
pilot error, yeah.
It doesn't get bigger.
Crashing into a mountain is quite a big pilot.
There were 49 fatalities.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. the giggle.
So no survivors.
But if it's pilot error, so just to check here, and obviously respect to the 49, I'm sorry, the loss of human life is very, very sad.
From you, not from
But
me,
yeah, I just want to go back to
I'm going to
this.
mute myself.
If they're on a plane and it's not the plane's fault, but it's the pilot's fault, how do you get
Yeah.
to be a pilot and fly into a mountain? That's not like, whoa, where did that come from? It's just like whizzed out in front of me. It's a mountain.
Drunk?
One of the things I read said it could have been fatigue, or I mean it's 66, it's a he, isn't it? Miscalculated the aircraft's climb performance in relation to its takeoff weight. So basically, they got the weight wrong and it didn't take off properly.
If I had a penny for every time I'd done that.
For every time I ruined the weight of an aircraft. So that was the first one. And then in August 1970, so only 4 years after that, Lanza Flight 502 had another fatal accident that was caused by the failure of the number 3 engine immediately after takeoff. So there were 4 engines, number 3 went out, and then the flight crew also didn't execute the appropriate engine out procedures properly, which led to it crashing. There was also evidence. I could have so easily just edited that out.
No.
Crashing.
Was the grink there? There was also evidence of failure by Lanza to perform proper maintenance on the aircraft, which could have prevented the engine failure.
Engine flavor.
4 different flavors.
And 101 people died.
Oh. I don't like that every time that we make a joke, you can just be like,
Yeah.
98 people lost their lives.
Oh, you don't? I really like it. I'm deliberately saying these words.
Yeah.
No.
We need to wait until after that line.
So 101 people died. There were 100 people on board. One of them survived the crash, but 2 people on the ground died.
I was going to say, I was really confused that when you were like 100 people on board, 101 people died. I was like, where did the...
So it crashed into them?
Yeah.
Or were they like, it's not like the thing, that surgery where there was 150% mortality rate because the doctor like cut someone open and then like accidentally like killed his assistant as well, and then all 3 of them died.
I mean, it's kind of like that.
Fun.
Jeez.
Yeah. So this is why you don't want to fly Lanza. Okay. It's not great. That's within.
Is it still operational?
Those are within 7 years of its opening.
Can I fly Lanza today?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
So there were, within 7 years, 150 fatalities.
Incredible.
It's not great.
Yeah. So despite all of that,
Was the Grinch there?
you can't just keep dropping that in.
No, go on. How many? Yeah, 150 people died, but not the Grinch.
So despite all of Lanza's previous history, and despite the protests from her father, they booked the flight. And on the 24th of December 1971, Maria and Julian Koepka flew on Lanza Flight 508. Takeoff went as usual.
As
And
in
then
correct.
I have
Incorrect weight calculations. Engines failing.
Into the mountains.
Straight for the range.
As usual.
I mean, I presume they had more than those 2 flights in their 7 years of operations.
Well, what you said, that was 502, and then this one is only 508. So they've had
I don't
they're
think
like, what,
that's
5
how flights
flights
are
in between?
numbered. I don't think flights are counted.
I know.
Okay, so I have a quote from Julia Koepka herself. So I'm gonna go into those to describe what happened on plane.
You have an account from the Grinch. I'm sorry, right, that's my last one.
I'm also really enjoying how you you say her surname every time, as though we're going to presume it's another Julia. Should you not?
Her name's Julianne.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
Julianne.
I'm listening and paying attention respectfully.
What did Mary do next?
I also think I'm saying her surname wrong every single time.
Great.
So,
Okay.
right. So everyone was eager to get home. We were angry because the plane was 7 hours late.
Oh,
Classic Lanta. Suddenly, we entered into a very heavy, dark cloud. My mother was anxious, but I was okay. I liked flying. 10 minutes later, it was obvious that something was very wrong. There was very heavy turbulence, and the plane was jumping up and down. Parcels and luggage were falling from the locker. There were gifts, flowers, and Christmas cakes flying around the cabin. Why is that funny? Why is that funny to you people?
It's terrifying until you said Christmas. I don't know why. It would be like 100%. It must be absolutely terrifying. What an awful thing to happen. But then also just imagining this like iced fruitcake, like woo!
God's sake!
delicious, delicious turbulence.
I didn't even say storm clowns.
No, you did say turbulence, which I enjoyed.
How do you say turbulence?
Turbulence,
turbulence. I give it a U.
as it's spelled
Turbulence.
traditionally.
Fuck off.
No, carry on. You had the turbulence.
That's barely a mistake.
Barely a word. Yeah, carry on.
Okay. When we saw lightning around the plane, I was scared. My mother and I held hands, but we were unable to speak. Other passengers began to cry and weep and scream. After about 10 minutes, I saw a very bright light on the outer engine on the left. My mother said very calmly, "That is the end. It's all over."
Wow.
Those were the last words I ever heard from her. Yeah. The plane jumped down and went into a nosedive. It was pitch black and people were screaming. Then the deep roaring of the engines filled my head completely. Suddenly the noise stopped and I was outside the plane. I was in a free fall, strapped to my seat bench and hanging head over heels. The whispering of the wind was the only noise I could hear. I felt completely alone. I could see the canopy of the jungle spinning towards me. Then I lost consciousness.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That would just be terrifying.
Yeah. The plane had been struck by lightning and had begun to disintegrate before plummeting to Earth. And they'd found it had broken into pieces about 2 miles above the ground. And Julianne had fallen 3,000 meters into the Amazon rainforest. Boom, forest.
Yeah, finally, the word forest.
Why does we're in the forest? But also that scares me, that the fact that it was hit by lightning and suddenly the plane is then just like
Yeah, falling out of plane scares you, does it? Irrational.
Yeah. I don't want to do it. But no, it's the fact that the lightning is able to break it apart in the first place. I suppose
Let's
now
remember,
planes have come a little.
but let's remember the company that owns this plane.
Oh yeah.
The plane is made out of Christmas cake.
Yeah.
So she goes on to say, "I remember nothing of the impact. I woke the next day and looked up into the canopy. The first thought I had was, I survived an air crash. I shouted out for my mother, but I only heard the sounds of the jungle. I was completely alone."
Jeez.
Yeah. So, bit
And how old
about
is she again? She's
17.
17.
So, bit about the Amazon rainforest, because I thought I'd better make it fit the topic. So the Amazon rainforest, also known as the Amazon jungle or Amazonia, covers 6 million kilometers squared, which makes it the largest rainforest in the world, and the majority of it, so about 60%, is in Brazil.
Wow.
It's not just the largest, it's also the most biodiverse, and it has an estimated 390 billion individual trees.
So many trees.
Yeah.
It's too many trees to
I
think
can't
about.
comprehend that many trees.
But it also has a load of animals in it and wildlife and things, including some rather dangerous ones, such as jaguars, cougars, crocodiles, anacondas, electric eels, piranhas, poison dart frogs, and then it's got all your sort of spiders and insects and poisonous plants, parasites and disease-carrying animals and insects, including diseases like malaria, yellow fever, dengue fever, and rabies. Ooh.
It's also got that little worm that swims up your willy.
Does it?
Yeah.
Not my Willy.
No, your willy's not safe.
The willy worm.
If you piss into an
Oh, yes.
Amazonian
Goes up the stream, doesn't
river,
it?
it like swims up your piss stream and into your urethra.
That's great. That's a fucking powerfully strong swimmer. Up a stream of piss.
This is raison d'etre
Is it just for those who
With a
carry
pe-
a willy
with-
about with them?
with a penis, indeed.
Oh. How come
There you
we can piss away in the Amazon forest as much as we like?
I
Nothing's
hope
going-
so. I haven't checked. They probably don't care if it happens to women. It's not reported.
Oh yes,
You're
that's more
probably-
it, isn't it?
If you're like squatting down, you're probably more likely to get bit though. So apples and oranges.
In the water.
Just don't.
Squat down in the water.
That's not what I was imagining, but
Okay. Well, I was thinking more if women peed in that.
You do
We've
you.
gone off
You do
topic,
you.
haven't we?
You pee
Let's
how
go
you
back
want.
to Julianne Kripke. I pee where I want.
So Julianne she was in the Amazon rainforest completely by herself, middle of nowhere, and she had suffered injuries from the fall that included a broken collarbone, a deep laceration on her right arm, an eye injury, and a concussion. She was left wearing just a short sleeveless mini dress and one white sandal. She'd lost the other one in the fall. And she was also very short-sighted because she'd also lost her glasses. And she is 17 years old.
Oh God.
Shout out to that one sandal.
Shout out to that buckle.
That is like clinging on for dear life.
What an advertisement for
Beautiful.
those shoes. That company should have been all over that.
You'll be
Just
left
the-
with one
just the
shoe.
one. Yeah, great.
I mean, given the other one, like given the circumstances, losing one, perhaps understandable, but the
Mm.
fact that did it survive all the way out of the forest? Well, let's find out.
But I did read that she used with her one shoe, and because she was really short-sighted, she used her one shoe to like feel the ground out in front of her to like help where she was
Ah.
stepping. Yeah, she's clever. So this is some more information from her. So all the context from that Amazon stuff, you, me, we land there, we gonna die. We gonna die.
Yes, I would have died in the plane
but-
crash, 100%.
Just from
Just, yeah. I don't, in that circumstance, I don't know. I feel like
you don't want the trials and tribulations of surviving.
I'm so phenomenally lazy that
Yeah.
landing in like a survival situation, this is the same thing as a zombie apocalypse. No, no, I'm killing myself,
Yeah.
100%. I don't know. I don't want to forage for my food.
Well, that's it. I'm sad. I'm probably going to end up eating Nina, aren't I? In this situation.
She's very nutritious and calorie dense.
Calorie
latter.
dense, not nutritious.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Mm.
Seeing what she eats. Yeah, because you're not going to survive because you're not going to have a fetchy person to bring you things because I'm not going to do it.
A fetchy person to bring you things. They're called gardeners.
Mimi's going to be gone. So it's us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, carry on.
But she was rather more prepared than we would be. So
She's German.
she had actually spent a long time living in the rainforest. When she was at that research station, she'd spent a year and a half with her
That
parents.
what station?
The Riesling station. You heard.
That's very German. The Riesling station.
So she'd spent a year and a half with her parents on the research station and learned a lot about life in the rainforest, and that it wasn't too dangerous. She said it's not the green hell that the world always thinks, which is wild given these circumstances. So she said snakes are camouflaged there and they look like dry leaves. I was lucky I didn't meet them, or maybe that I just didn't see them. I
Ugh.
found a small creek and walked in the water because I knew it was safer. At the crash site, I had found a bag of sweets. When I had finished them, I had nothing more to eat.
Did she smash them all at once?
She sounds smart, so I'm guessing she didn't. She's not like us where it's
Yeah.
like gone.
That's the second reason I wouldn't survive. Oh, fuck me. That's the second reason I wouldn't survive. I'd find a bag of Haribo and it would be gone, and you guys wouldn't even know about it.
Where are the supplies?
Oh, Mimi's here.
Yeah.
So when she finished them, she had nothing more to eat, and she was very afraid of starving. It was very hot and very wet, and it rained several times a day, but it was cold in the night, and to be alone in that dress was very difficult. On the fourth day, I heard the noise of a landing king vulture, which I recognized from my time at my parents' reserve.
Sorry, Tina. To be alone in the dress was very distressing.
Does she mean that she was cold?
It was cold, dude.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I was like, how many people are usually in there?
It was so
No, I think she's a
embarrassing.
bit fucking chilly. Being like rained on and then middle of the night.
Okay, I get you. I get you.
The thing she was embarrassed about was the one sandal. That's
She was wearing
embarrassing.
white after Labor Day. It's just like so embarrassing.
On the fourth day, I heard the noise of a landing king vulture, which I recognized from my time at my parents' reserve. I was afraid because I knew they only land when there is a lot of carrion, and I knew
Oh,
it was bodies from the crash.
that's bleak.
Yeah, it's fucked up. When I turned a corner in the creek, I found a bench with 3 passengers rammed headfirst into the earth.
Jesus.
I was paralyzed by panic. It was the first time I had seen a dead body.
Oh my God.
I thought my mother could be one of them, but when I touched the corpse with a stick, I saw that the woman's toenails were painted. My mother never polished her nails. I was immediately relieved, but then I felt
Oh.
ashamed of that thought.
Oh.
So she went on like this day after day, hiking through the forest, one foot in front of the other, trying to feel her way. Very little vision. And by the 10th day, I couldn't stand properly, and I drifted along the edge of a larger river I had found. I felt so lonely, like I was in a parallel universe far away from any human being. I thought I was hallucinating when I saw a really large boat. When I went to touch it and realized it was real, it was like an adrenaline shot. But then I saw there was a small path into the jungle where I found a hut with a palm tree roof, an outboard motor, and a litre of gasoline. I had a wound on my upper right arm. It was infested with maggots about 1 centimetre long.
Jesus.
Oh,
Yeah, so those were botfly larvae.
no.
Oh, I've seen the videos of those. They're all.
And she said, I remembered our dog had the same infection and my father had put kerosene in it. So I sucked the gasoline out and put it into the wound. The pain was intense as the maggots tried to get further into the wound.
No.
I pulled out about 30 maggots and was very proud of myself.
Oh, she's amazing.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
She's 17.
Jesus.
She decided to spend the night there, and eventually she fell asleep. And then the next day, I heard the voices of several men outside. It was like hearing the voices of angels. When they saw me, they were alarmed and stopped talking. They thought I was a kind of water goddess, a figure from local legend who is a hybrid of a water dolphin and a blonde, white-skinned woman. But I introduced myself in Spanish and explained what had happened. They treated my wounds and gave me something to eat.
Love.
So
I was just imagining either of you being
Yeah.
being found and being like, "Are you a water goddess?" Like,
Yes, actually, I am.
yes, thank you for noticing.
I actually
I'll
am.
just stay here. Bring me something to eat. So this encampment that she had found had been set up by local lumberjacks, and after taking care of her, they put her on a canoe, and then for a further 11 hours, she was transported on that canoe to a more inhabited area where eventually, finally, she was airlifted to a hospital. After recovering from her injuries, she assisted search parties in locating the crash site and recovering the bodies of victims.
Wow.
She says, the day after my rescue, I saw my father. He could barely talk, and in the first moment, we just held each other.
Oh.
For the next few days, he frantically searched for news of my mother. On 12th of January, they found her body. Later, I found out that she also survived the crash, but was badly injured and she couldn't move. She died several days later.
Oh.
Days.
Yeah,
Oh.
I dread to think what her last days were like.
Hopefully, she was really concussed and confused and not with
Yeah,
it and not
just-
conscious for a lot of it.
Just, yeah, snoozing.
Yeah.
I don't know if now's the time to bring this up, but
I wish you
mine,
would.
I think
Is it the Grinch?
it's bleaker than mine. I think this is
Do
bleaker
you?
than mine.
No way.
Yeah.
She survived.
She's wicked.
Yeah. But how's like this whole journey is like so sad. And then her and her dad just like crying and holding each other. And also then thinking about what happened to her mum. No, I think
Yeah,
it's-
that's pretty bleak.
Anyway, sorry, carry on, Nina.
Well, it gets worse.
Oh, hooray!
Yay!
So 14 other passengers were later discovered to have survived the initial crash but died while waiting for rescue.
So she could have helped all those people if she'd walked the right way.
I think that's pretty harsh.
Oh,
She's really not that good. No, she's amazing. How
So
is she supposed to know?
her unlikely survival has been the subject of much speculation, of course. Experts have said that she survived the fall because she was harnessed into her seat, which was a window seat, and they broke free. So there were three of them, as you know, kind of standard, and they all broke free attached to each other. And people think it was thought to have functioned as a parachute or kind of helicopter, which slowed her fall.
Okay.
And they also think the impact may have been slowed by the updraft from the thunderstorm, and as well as thick foliage at her landing
I was
site.
going to say, like the tree canopy, maybe. Like,
Just bouncing
Yeah.
off trees.
She did say at one point she could hear helicopters searching above, but like there was absolutely no way of seeing anything.
They can't see her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that forest in Japan.
did she have any like broken bones or anything?
Collarbone.
Collarbone.
Oh, is it collarbone? Oh, sorry,
She
I
had,
missed it when you said that.
yeah, that was her main injury.
That's insane. She fell 2 miles out of the sky.
Crazy.
In total, 91 people died. So that's all 6 crew and 85 of its 86 passengers, and it is the deadliest lightning strike disaster in aviation history.
Jesus. Cool.
But I'm not going to finish there because I'm not as bleak as Bothwell. So I got a little bit of extra facts for the end.
Happy
Um,
facts.
Yay.
Sort of.
Oh, okay.
So about the Lanza company and the airline and the flight, some evidence showed that the crew decided to continue the flight despite the hazardous weather ahead, apparently because of pressure to meet the holiday schedule. And Peruvian investigators cited intentional flight into hazardous weather conditions as a cause of the crash.
Oh.
So your question, what happened to the airline? It immediately ceased all operations as its last airworthy plane was lost in that crash.
Oh, not because of any other reason, just
Mhm.
operationally they didn't have a plane that could fly.
Yep.
Sensational.
So all other of their aircraft had already either been phased out, lost in accidents, or grounded in Lima as inoperative. So I presume like falling apart and not being properly maintained.
Gorgeous.
And then by January the 4th of 1972, so the year later, the Peruvian government revoked Lanza's operating certificate, and
Yeah.
they gone.
They
They
gone.
gone.
Wow.
So Julianne, a little bit about what happened to her afterwards. She returned to her parents' native Germany, where she fully recovered from her physical injuries. Like her parents, she went on to study biology at the University of Kiel, and she graduated in 1980. She received a doctorate from Ludwig Maximilian University of Munich and returned to Peru to conduct research in mammalogy.
Yeah.
Mammalogy.
The lesser known field of
Mammalogy. Mammalogy.
You're
Which-
all right.
In my defense, Google doesn't recognize as a word.
Study of mammals.
Yeah.
Not Google. Word doesn't recognize as a word.
I was going to say, if Google doesn't recognize it as a word and no one else does, it's something that you have created. But no, it's just that Word doesn't. Okay.
I really thought one of you was going to make a joke about boobies. So
Oh. Mm.
maybe if I'd said it properly.
Yeah.
Mm.
And she specialized in bats.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's cute. She married a German entomologist in 1989. In 2011, she released an autobiography which title translates to "When I Fell from the Sky, How the Jungle Gave Me My Life Back." And that won the Korean Literature Prize. And in 2019, the government of Peru made her a Grand Officer of the Order of Merit for Distinguished Services in recognition of her outstanding academic and scientific career, her important
Wow.
contributions to biology, and her renowned research on the flora and fauna of the Peruvian Amazon.
Incredible.
So she's a
Insane.
fucking legend. She
Yeah.
fell from the sky into the Amazon and she went back there to keep studying.
Imagine getting back on a plane.
Oh, you never would you? Would you? Yeah, she had to.
Get back on a plane. No.
She got on one like almost straight after
Yeah.
That's
to travel back home.
Oh,
crazy.
you'd have to, I suppose, wouldn't you? But
Yeah.
also, like from what you said, and also a little research that I had previously done when I considered doing the Amazon, like that forest doesn't want people in there. Everything is poisonous or angry at you or wants to eat you.
Amazing.
I mean, she doesn't give a fuck. She's like, it's not that bad.
I know, right? 11 days. She's just like, yeah, I can do it.
Don't worry about it.
She's like, it's not the hell you make it out to be.
Insane.
Yeah, Bothwell.
Yeah, sorry. I do bang on about it. Me crying as I pick maggots out. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, this isn't hell.
Great story.
It is a great story. That was an amazing story.
I like that.
And
I'm
it
way,
is less depressing than yours.
yeah, I was going to say that was way less bleak. Well, thank you for listening, everyone. If you are a new listener to the Weirding Hour, very much urge you to go back and listen to the back catalogue, where you can listen to more episodes about creepy trees or things that we found in trees. No, not that we found.
Very
Just that,
variable backlog.
yes, are extremely diverse, much like the Amazonian rainforest, extremely diverse. We are also super legit here at the Weirding Hour, so you can also find all of the sources and links to the stories that we told you today in the show notes. And did you know you can even suggest topics by emailing weirdinghour@gmail.com or sliding into our DMs on Instagram? We could do another tree-related topic, or if you want to suggest something different, we could also be open to that as well.
Should we just change our name? Also taking suggestions for tree-based names.
Oh yeah,
The Treeing Hour. The Weirding Tree.
the Weirding Tree.
Very imaginative, Nina.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You're welcome.
What are we going to talk about next time?
It's a really good question, Bothwell. We've already decided. I was going to pretend to do a whole skit where I reached into a fake paper bag and pulled out a topic, but we've already decided we're doing cults, so that's how it's going to be.
Cults 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Oh,
We have done cults before.
you've done cults before. Okay, but this was pre-me, so this is going to be better.
I promise you, audience, there are so many new topic ideas that we could be doing instead of repeats. But for now,
No, rehash the old.
Why are we only doing things we've done before?
I don't like change. We fear
Yeah.
change.
It's true.
well, I promise we'll do a new topic, a brand new to you topic after cult.
Hell yeah.
I make no such promise. Trees again.
Sweet Lord, no. So, finally, don't forget to review, share, throw us a like on socials, interact with our posts, even if it's just to bully us,
Especially if it's just to bully us.
especially if it's to bully Nina. And peace out, Nosferatus and Nosferatas and Nosferatives.
Nosferatinis. Goodbye.
Bye.
Turbulence.